Right then, we welcome Spurs to Old Trafford tomorrow night. They're currently lying in third place. They're actually level with City on points, and they're undefeated in 15 of their last 16 games in the Premier League. Christ. We have scored at least 3 goals in the last 3 matches against Tottenham in all competitions, and we have won our last 3 matches against Tottenham in all competitions. But I just don't feel fuzzy and warm inside about it for tomorrow. I really don't. Now, Conte, people kind of know that is synonymous with his back three formation. So it's no surprise that you will probably see Spurs lining up in a 3-4-2-1 or even a 3-5-2 when they come to Old Trafford. They build out from the back using a back three or a combination of 3 players. From time to time, you'll see Højbjerg drop to the left of a 3-man defence as Ben Davies or whoever it is plays left side centre half. Might push a little bit higher, trying to give them a little bit of depth. And if someone's trying to pick them up as they're pressing, they just rotate in position like that. It's quite a basic thing to do, but it's a pretty effective thing to do. Usually that forward push is a little bit high and wide. Spurs like to overload the left-hand side and play into the left wing back and then try and combine with Son. They do go a little bit left side heavy when they're trying to build out. And they're pretty adept at drawing teams onto that one side of the pitch before switching it and identifying an overload then on the other side with the opposite wing back, which usually Emerson Royal, but I think it's probably going to be Doherty this week. When they're on song, they really start to stretch teams in this way. And I think that the back three has been an issue for us at times in terms of dealing with it. So I'm very intrigued as how we're going to face up against this at the moment. Son and Kane have statistically been the most productive Premier League duo of all time. Kane tends to drop in deep, and Son likes to try and stretch, take up the higher starting position, and often look for runs in behind and use Kane's passing ability to be able to find him. They're quite telepathic with it at times. They like to try and go 3-4-1-2 when it comes to a bit of a high block without too much intention of pressing too high, which I know sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but they look to try and create overloads in wide areas, try and keep a very rigid sort of shape, and then look to try and spring on the counter when they have the opportunity to do that. They have shown the occasional tendency to squeeze high and to press, certainly on opposition goal kicks, but they like to sort of hold a shape and make you play around them rather than chase after you and try and force you into errors. That's what I sort of pick up on, at least anyway. Predicted 11 wise, Lloris in net. I think it'd be Davies, Dyer, Romero, Doherty, and then Benteke, Højbjerg, Basuma, Perisic, Kane, and Son. I think that's how they're probably going to line up with us. Starman, it's probably Kane, to be honest. He's having a hell of a season. He's got 10 goals, 2 assists, 14 games this season. Probably one of the best finishers that we've seen in the Premier League era. He's an ever-present threat. He genuinely only needs one chance, and you can find him putting it away. He does have good vision, and when he unloads Son, he can cause you some problems as well. But you can make him a non-factor, and you can take him out of a game, and you can nullify him, and I hope that's what we're going to try and do. Right then, this video is brought to you by our partners at Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN or a virtual private network that keeps your online identity safe by encrypting all the information between your device and the internet. This keeps your personal data protected from the big companies and cyber criminals. It also means you can swap your actual location of your device with a new one, aka changing your IP address. And this way you can virtually travel around the globe. Surfshark encrypts your online data and secures your personal information when you're using a free public Wi-Fi, which can be a goldmine for hackers. Mask your IP address and become private online. Surfshark makes sure that your city, your country, and download history are not linked with your identity. Surfshark doesn't monitor, track, or store what you do online. That means no connection or activity logs, and changes your virtual location to access content not available in your region. Stay safe when you're streaming content not on TV with Surfshark. If you prefer not to pay and watch the games or movies through free streaming services online, Surfshark will protect your data and identity. These sites can be dangerous. You've got ads constantly popping up, rife with malware attacks. Surfshark's clean web feature blocks ads, malware, and phishing attempts and allows you to stream the content safely. It's extremely useful when you're streaming online content that isn't on TV. And with Surfshark VPN, you can use one account on unlimited devices, whether it's a laptop or phone or whatever it is. Got an exclusive offer for you. Use the code Howson to get 83% off and 3 extra months for free. Surfshark gives you a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's absolutely zero risk to try it. Check the link in the description. Use the code Howson and get this exclusive offer. My United 11, I'm going to try and go with very similar to what we had against Newcastle, with a couple of tweaks. And one of those tweaks being Rashford in for Sancho. Just because I see that, again, when you play against the back three, you exploit the space in between the fullback and the centre half. That's the weakness of a back three. That's where you get at them. And you've got to be able to pull them into areas they don't want to be. And you do that by pace. And that's Marcus. So I'd look to try and do that. Ronaldo's probably going to start because I haven't heard anything. I mean, maybe Marshall does, but I haven't heard anything at the moment. And at the time of recording, I think that's where it's going to be. Change I'm making is in midfield, and it's Eriksen in for Fred alongside Casemiro. And I would keep the back four the same, in all honesty. They did nothing wrong. I thought they were pretty good, so I would go with that. And our star man is Eriksen. Midfield is key. It's key in every game, but it's key against Spurs because they're strong and athletic in there, and this is where they're sort of winning games and picking up 3 points all the time at the moment. Could be the area that decides the game, and if Eriksen doesn't play, I think we lose. If Eriksen does play, we are capable of winning. Tottenham's setup requires creativity and quality to break them down because they will pack numbers into that centre area, and Eriksen is the only person in a United shirt that's capable of doing that. So if he's ill again, we got problems and we need to look for something else and come up with a different idea and maybe even try somebody else in there. His absence is going to make it look a lot more one-dimensional, as we saw against Newcastle, and far easier to squeeze us with a press. You can't press Eriksen because he's too good, and you pressing him means that someone else gets left in space, typically someone with a bit of pace, and then we're going to carve you open. How do we beat them? Well, you attack a back three using width. You attack them down the sides. Midfield can be narrow, and you can catch the fullbacks in or the wingbacks in no man's land a little bit sometimes. This is where the beauty of a back three with wingbacks works, and where it can also fall apart for the team implementing it. Teams that come up against the back three typically either deal with the fullbacks very well or they don't deal with the fullbacks at all, wingbacks. And that's where the game is won and lost on the opposition side. And when you're the team that's playing as a back three, if you can deal with them essentially pushing up the pitch and being part of the midfield and attack, you can deal with that comfortably. You'll dominate the game because you've just thrown in extra men into that area. It can also be the biggest weakness in your team if the opposition decides to stay high and pressure you in those areas. That's the area that the game will fall down, and that's the area that the opposition will exploit. So them being solid down the middle, them being quite gung-ho with Son and Kane, the area to exploit is the wing-backs. Son is allowed to cheat upfield and doesn't always track back. That makes him a danger with the ball, but it means he's someone that you can kind of rely on to sort of just stand there and do the bare minimum when you've got the ball. There's 2v1 and 1v1 opportunities down the wide areas. I want to see Anthony and Rashford in those areas and look to get around the outside and have a better ball than we had against Newcastle. I would target Doherty. He's mistake prone. He has switched off. And I think even Conte recognises that he's the weakness in that team. The other thing to go for, and it's not necessarily even different to this, but it switches and overloads. United are going to be in possession of the ball more than Spurs. The last 2 games, we've had a little bit of practice at breaking down teams that are going to sit back. And we have struggled. We took a 93rd minute winner against Ammonia, and it was arguably the same with Rashford's header that didn't go in against Newcastle. You can expect a lot more of the same against Spurs tomorrow night, I think. And that's where Eriksen would be vital if he was on the pitch to give United a chance. Him, Bruno, Casemiro are going to have lots of periods of time in possession. when Spurs sit in, they need to pick the right passes, pick the right moments, find the right delivery, be patient and exciting and brave at the right times. Overlaps and underlaps would be key for United in creating chances. Can you drag those wide centre halves into places where they're too far away from goal? That is the ultimate objective. What they do, back three, okay, here's what we need to do. I need to have that left and right centre half moving with someone cutting across the centre one. That's what we need to do. How do we do that? Who's going to do it and how do we do it? You figure that out, you beat a back three. It's as simple as that. And then you've got the midfield battle. Conte will go for three in the middle, especially with Richarlison being out and Kulusevski being injured. That might have tempted him to go a little bit more adventurous, but with those two being out, he's going to go with bodies and power in the midfield. Basuma, Højbjerg, Benteke is as good as they come on the day. They're quality and they're also physical as well. So we're going to have to be at our best and we're going to have to try and win that little firefight and exploit the areas in behind where the wing backs are. That's where the game's going to get won and lost for me. I think it'll be interesting. It's going to be exciting. But it's going to be another tricky game for us. And I think if we've come out of the Ammonia game with no dramas, dominated it was easy. We come out of the Newcastle game, dominated it, a little bit unlucky in front of goal, kept a clean sheet. I'm not taking a draw tomorrow. But if it came down to a draw where we've pushed and we've pushed and we've pushed, you take the positive out of it and said, you know what? We are on the right track here, and we are desperate for a striker. I wouldn't expect a high-scoring game in this one tomorrow, so it very well could be another 0-0 on the cards, but we live in hope, don't we? Let me know your score predictions in the comments below. Make sure to check out Stretford Paddock's latest game as well. If you want goals, you want red cards, then actually we delivered on that one as well. I'll throw the link for that in the comments. Check that out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.